this Wednesday evening. I hope for those of you who've been tuning into the US election that you've got some sleep. I was thinking the other day, the amount of people who I know on this side of the world who were planning on staying up and watching the election results come in, and I was kind of thinking to myself, it's a bit odd because there's going to be no answer for a few days at the very earliest. And as Trump has turned around and said, there's going to be court cases if necessary. So I kind of said to myself, right, let's just leave it as it is and let people worry about it and make sure I get some sleep. So we will be delving into one of those Trump questions and US election questions today. What else have I got to tell you about? Well, thank you so much to everyone who's picked up a copy and shared of Parenting My Pocket Parenting Q&A Volume 1. I was only discussing Volume 2 today with my editor, which was very exciting. But it's great to see reviews coming up on Amazon. Please do review if you've bought the book and read it and found it useful, because that does help with the rankings or something like that in Amazon, I think. But yeah, people are saying they're enjoying it and they're getting a lot out of it. And I think I might start, posting little snippets from it very soon online. So you can jump on Amazon, jump on your Apple bookstore, wherever you get your books. They should be able to have it, and they should be able to get it for you. So thank you to everyone who is already sharing it. I will be getting in touch with you to see if I can borrow your pictures and use them too. Caitlin, hello, good to see you. It's Lockdown Eve there. Congratulations. Kind of. Hello, Vivi. Good to see you. So yeah, we've got a couple of questions today that we'll delve into, but I do want to thank those of you who've been supporting the Patreon page and continue to do so. Thank you so much. The next motivation podcast will be coming out by the end of this week, which I'm very excited to bring to you, so I hope you'll enjoy that. Our Parenting in My Pocket podcast is out, where myself and Mary sit down and we have conversations around some of the psychological theory, and people are really, really responding well to that, telling us how much they're enjoying how we break things down and make it a bit more accessible for you guys. And people are saying that they're actually putting that stuff in place at home to change how they interact with their children. So that's fantastic to hear. And even those of you who don't have children are still coming back and saying that you're finding the podcast really, really useful. So the new one will be coming out today or tomorrow, I think. I'm not in charge of that. Gina, good to see you. I'm glad you can join too. So anything else I need to tell you about? Yes, we have our online school, Teachable, on Teachable, which is available for you guys. If you want to do it and you fancy getting a little discount, give me a shout and I'll sort out a discount for you. I'm feeling that kind of generous, because a lot of us are going through the mill right now, so we will get something sorted for you. And we have 2 parenting courses coming up online, that will be in person with myself on Zoom, and one with me, one with Mary, Parenting After Separation and Divorce, and General Parenting course. So you can sign up on the Help Me to Parent website, and you can book directly. We have reduced the price there because it is online, it's not in person, so you guys can sign up there. So that's it. I'm not going to go into too much of it. Thank you to everyone who supported so far, and keep sharing the book. It's really nice to have people come back to me and give me some nice comments and stuff. So we're going to crack straight into the questions today, right? Myself and my ex-husband have been separated for 2 years. It has been a really tough time, and we've been back and forth through the courts, and I'm absolutely fed up of the whole process. He was never involved as a father, as he worked a lot, and now he is looking for 3 nights a week to have our 3 children, who don't want to spend that much time away from the family home. They say that there is no structure, and the younger 2, who are 7 and 9, don't end up going to bed before 11, even though they have school the next day. I'm just so tired, and I want all this fighting to stop, as the children are the ones who are losing out. As I can't give them any promises, as the courts keep putting off making a final decision. Have you any help you can give me to just feel better about the whole situation? And I'm sure you'll all agree, we can all feel the sadness and the tiredness in this person's email, it's a very, very difficult process to go through. And I work with separated parents at least 3 to 4 times a week, partially because the courts will recommend to do a parenting course, and then partially because they just want to be able to manage this whole process as best as they can for their children, while still trying to manage their own emotions and their own feelings that they're going through. And you go from being together and working together in whatever way you work together. Now, as this parent says, that her husband wasn't particularly involved as a parent, but he was still there. So even if you knew that he could come in and take care of things for a bit, and then that gets taken away, and you're really worried about your children, and that their foundation is rocked, but also your foundation is rocked as well. And what you thought, I'm assuming when you got married, you planned that you were going to stay together forever, and that doesn't always work out like that. But when it doesn't, there's a bit of grief that can come with that. Now, there can also be relief if you're in a difficult situation, but there can be grief to what you had hoped for your relationship. And it's okay to go and get some help for yourself, be that through talking to friends, be it talking to a professional, be it sitting down with your parents even and talking it through. It's okay to go and do that. I think it's important. And I think for you here, you need to look after yourself. And people will say, "Oh, Alan, that's all well and good, saying that this person should look after themselves," but they might not have the time. Or she might be coming back to me going, "Alan, I can barely think straight. I just to keep things going." And sometimes that's what we have to do, is just keep going and keep plowing through just to make sure we get there. But the reality is, if you're not taking care of yourself, you're diminished. And when you're diminished, you can't take care of your kids as well and support them as well as you can. And again, it's not all on you. But what you're saying, like you've written into us to say that you're struggling with taking care of them and taking care of their mental health. So go and get some support if you need it. Send me an email. Get in touch with me. I'll work with you. I've no problem. And if there's money's an issue, we'll figure something out. Don't worry about that. But do go and speak to somebody. Get some support. And then one of the most difficult things for any parent going through a separation, especially going through the courts, is that a lot of the decisions are taken out of your hands. And that can hurt, because a lot of parents I work with will say, "I'm sitting there and I love my children and I want the best for them, but some person sitting up there is deciding what's best for my family." And that's so hard to actually take. And it's so hard to get your head around that I don't have the control over taking care of my family, because that person's going to decide. And who knows what they're going to listen to or what they're going to take on board. And that is really, really difficult. And again, working with somebody or talking to somebody can help you reconcile within yourself that all I can do is the best that I can with what I have. And what I mean by that is that if you have the kids 1 day a week, if you have the kids 7 days a week, all you can do is put the boundaries and put the structure in place for them. And you're right, you can't make promises to them when the courts could make you a liar. So what you can do is reassure them that you are looking to get the best outcome for them as you can. And by you going and speaking with your solicitor or your barrister and having the conversations around what it is you want and what it is or the reasons why you think you should get what you want. And I know it's not about you, but what would be best for the children in terms of access with both parents. All you can do is put that forward and hope that a judge takes it on board. And you could wish that your ex-husband will turn around and be reasonable and will actually listen to his children. But sometimes the hurt and anger towards our other partner, our ex-partner, overrides the love of the children. And that's something that is not necessarily said or overt, where a father is saying to his children, I'm going to do what I want to do because I am the dad. But it's through the actions, where it's not taking on board what they want, what they're saying, and could sometimes say they're only saying that because mom is making them say that. And sometimes that will be the case, and sometimes it won't. And I'm going to take it from this that this isn't the case. But all you can do is work with your children to say, well, okay, I'm trying the best that I can to get this sorted as quickly as possible so that you guys are settled. Because they do need that settled. They need to know when they're going to be with mum, when they're going to be with dad, who's going to be looking after the schooling, who's going to be looking after homework, who's going to be looking after dinner. And you can't do anything about how dad looks after things. So he might get takeaway, he might buy them loads of things, become fun dad, and you're the one that's going, oh my God, here I am having to wash all the clothes, put the boundaries in place, have them shouting and give it out to me because when we go to dad's it's so much more fun and it's so much more crack, but that's not what's happening here. So reassure your kids that you're putting the structures in place as best you can, but that ultimately it's out of your hands. But you're trying to take on board what they're saying. Then look at, okay, when you are with me, these are going to be the boundaries. This is how our new family setup is going to be, because that's what you have to remember. You have a new family setup. They have a new family setup. It used to be mum and dad. Now it's just mum. And it's okay to go, well, these are the new rules. These are the new boundaries that we're going to have, because you need to put them in place and you need to know yourself what they're going to be. So you might need to sit down and go through the parenting plan, which I gave out before. If you didn't hear it, give me a message and I'll send you on a parenting plan structure. But with that, sit down, do your parenting plan, look at what are the rules I need to put in place for my kids. And you might have different rules for different kids, but sit down, go through that, and then relay that to your kids and go, these are the boundaries, this is the new setup. These will be the consequences that I don't want to put in place, but we'll have to do it if the boundaries are broken. Okay? And then sit down with your solicitor and say, this is what I need, this is what my children need in order for us to be okay. But ultimately what we need is a decision made sooner rather than later, because this dragging on and dragging on and dragging on is not good for the children. They feel unsettled and they're finding it difficult to get a foundation underneath themselves when they don't know where they're going to be, who they're going to be with, or for how long. And then go and look for some support yourself. Again, if you're struggling cost-wise, come and talk to me, or go and talk to someone local. There will be options available to you locally, wherever you're from, to get the support that you need in a way that works for you. And that person may just listen to you, and that might be all you need just to get things sorted in your own head. And then what I'd say is, go and sit down with somebody else and do the parenting plan with them, because it's good to have ideas that you can bounce off somebody else, or somebody else might be able to give you some different ideas that you might never have thought about. So take the pressure off yourself. You're doing the best that you can. Don't make promises that you can't keep, because you can't keep them. But reassure your kids that you're doing the best that you can to try and get some sort of structure set out for them, and then go to your barrister and say, this is what I want for the children, because this is what they're saying to me, and this is why they are saying it. And then hopefully what will happen will be that you guys get something sorted and some sort of long-term support put in place, or structure put in place for everybody, and see how you get on. Okay, we have one more question. Who else is popping in to say hello just before we go to the next question? I can't seem to scroll down for some reason. Anyway, we'll skip on. I'm writing from America, and I have a question around how I can manage my anxiety and my children's anxiety around the fact that we may be looking into 4 more years of Trump as president. I have never really been interested in politics, but for the last 4 years, the levels of anxiety in my social circle at what is happening to our country is through the roof. This has rubbed off on my kids, and I do feel a lot of guilt about it, as myself and my husband have lots of conversations about it, and sometimes in front of the children. They are asking questions that I have no answer for around what will happen if he gets in again. Have you any simple techniques to manage the collective anxiety? So this is something that has come up quite a few times today with different people that I've worked with. And what I would say is that, look, this American election not just this American election, society in general now, we have to choose one side or the other. You are either all in on this side or you are all in on that side. And there's no room for the middle ground. And that's just not how life is. We have to have a middle ground. We have to be able to listen to what the other person says and give actual credence to what they're saying and evaluate it, not from a you're wrong, you're evil, that's just the way it is because I believe this thing. It's about trying to understand what is it about what that other person is saying is making this person side with them. Because it's too easy to go and say, well, all Trump supporters are evil and they're all, like redneck hicks. And that's just not the reality of the situation. Because if that was the case, he would not have got into power 4 years ago. And he wouldn't be in the running this time around. So it's about allowing room for the discourse to kind of go, okay, well, let me try and understand. What is it about the policies? What is it about the personality? What is it about, there could be people who are just, who actually don't like Trump, but do like some of the policies that the Republicans are putting in place. That's all right too. The exact same way that it's okay for you to like Biden or dislike Biden, but like some of the Democratic ideas. The overall problem is that social media is driving, and sorry, not just social media, the media is driving this one or the other, and that if you're on this side, that if the other side wins, it is the end of the world. It's a catastrophic affair. And I remember 4 years ago and going to classrooms in Ireland to talk about why Trump got elected, because the kids couldn't get their head around it. Now let's really give that some credence. Children as young as 6 and 7 in Ireland, a little country in Western Europe, had to have somebody come in and talk to them because Trump got elected, and they could not get their head around it because the media portrayal was of this evil monster. He might not have done much to prove it wrong, but this was the thing that was being sold, and the kids could not get their head around it. And part of the work that I was doing was, guys, you are okay. And I say this to everyone, whether you're in America or not. You are okay for the most part. Now, some people will be saying, Alan, we're not well. That's okay. But for the most part, everyone is okay. And if Trump does get re-elected, ask yourself, how will this actually affect my day-to-day life? Okay? Because it might not. He might get into power and your life may carry on as it has been for the last whatever amount of months, for the last whatever amount of years. That it may not actually be the end of the world. In fact, it's probably not going to be the end of the world. It's probably just going to be a continuation. Now, that does not mean that the long-term impact is not going to have a negative impact on you. And you may be directly impacted by Trump getting into power. And if that is the case, you need to look at, well, what is within my control around how this is impacting on me? Because the collective anxiety. Anxiety is an emotion of the future. We worry about what might happen, and we usually think about the worst case scenario. But when we pull it back to ourselves and go, well, in my life, I don't need to worry about what anybody on social media is saying. I don't need to worry about what anyone in the media is saying right now. In my life, what is happening in the here and now for me? And it's about pulling it back to get yourself in control of your environment. And that may mean stepping off social media for the next week, 2 weeks. It may mean stepping off all media for the next couple of weeks. But if that's what you need, do it. And sit down with your children and explain to them that we are okay and we will be okay no matter what occurs. We're just going to take care of ourselves as a little family, and then look at getting the logic back in charge. So what's happening now is the emotion is overpowering the logic, and the logic is not in charge, the emotion is in charge, and the emotion is worry. And it's okay to acknowledge that emotion, but we need to get the logic back in and go, well, what is actually the real situation for us? And break that down and go, okay, you're probably going to be okay. The kids are probably going to go to school, spend time with their friends as they normally do. And if you're really struggling, and as I said at the start, if you're really struggling with this, go and speak to somebody to help you manage your anxiety levels. Get in touch with me if you need to, but go and speak to somebody. If you can't rein it in, if you can't manage it for yourself, because you need to be able to take care of yourself in order to take care of your family. Let's take the pressure off ourselves and get back into touch with our little families. That's all we can do. Okay, that's us, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you all have a lovely week. If you haven't bought Parenting My Pocket, Parenting Q&A Volume 1, go and buy it and give us a little review. All right, guys, have a wonderful week. Take care.